In my teaching experience, most students who study with me are not complete beginners. They have studied English before and they can express some ideas here and there to a degree. But there is a common trap that I have noticed people fall into without realizing they are impeding their own progress. So what's the trap? It's a belief that whatever has worked for you before will continue working for your progress. I remember teaching a man who is a professor of Ukrainian in a high-profile Ukrainian university. This man was very intelligent. He'd spent decades learning how languages work, but however, when he came to me, he felt stuck at intermediate. He told me he'd been trying to cross the intermediate plateau for years, only to his disappointment and despair. And so I asked him how he was doing that, how he was learning English. And he shared that he had read a scientific paper where it was said that people who speak their first language well stand better chances of speaking their second language well too. So every time he wanted to express something in English, he would construct a sentence in Ukrainian first and then try to translate it word by word into English. And when he could not find an equivalent English word in his memory bank, he felt very frustrated with himself and dropped the sentence altogether. When I started teaching this man, I discovered that although I would select conversational activities for him, they did not really work. He was so convinced that his method was the best that he wouldn't even give it a try to anything else. He thought that the ability to translate from his first language into English perfectly was an indicator of an advanced speaker. Since he couldn't live up to his own standard, he felt useless and upset. He felt very untalented. If he'd seen it as a standard that he had created himself rather than something that is true about advanced speakers in general, he would have been more open to trying out something new and perhaps made more progress more easily. If you've been learning English for a while but do not feel like you are progressing, consider revisiting your methods. Maybe there's a method in your practice that you do love, but you do not feel any progress. It could well be a method that has worked for you in the past, but now it's time to move up a level. In order to do that, you need to see very clearly what it is that you do. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, what methods do I apply to learn English? What do I want to be able to do? Reaching clarity is very important. If you want to speak fluently, what is it that you experience that stands in your way? Many people will say a lack of confidence. Others, I can't find my words fast enough. Some other person may say they lack ideas to express. All those problems should be tackled in different ways using different methods on their own rights. If you're not feeling confident, you should work to understand your psychology. There is no way you could become a confident speaker if you do not focus on your psychology first. Perhaps at one point you will realize that, I don't feel confident because I'm in fear of mistakes. I'm afraid that if I make a mistake, people will take their love away from me. If you struggle with finding the right words fast enough, you may want to look into the subjects that you often speak about. Find YouTube channels and podcasts where people discuss the matters you want to discuss, and be deliberate about your learning. Detect and write down the phrases that you want to use. Create sentences with them. Say them out loud. Speaking out loud is key if you want to learn to speak. Most people say that they want to learn to speak, but all they do is simply write down a word here and there and listen to other people discussing on YouTube how they should learn to speak. If you are like that, switch off this video and start actually speaking for God's sake. If you tend to be someone who lacks original ideas, once again, this is not necessarily an English problem. Observe someone who you think is truly interesting. Define for yourself what makes them interesting. The chances are they will be someone genuinely curious about life. They'll be in love with their job or their art. They will know a lot about the world, not because they deliberately learnt it from someone and now they're just parroting that person, but because they truly wondered why things were so. They were independent thinkers, and that was how they had arrived at their conclusions. I'll be releasing videos about independent thinking soon, so stay tuned for that. Learners often say they want to become fluent, advanced, proficient, or sophisticated. But those terms are very blurry. They do not mean the same thing for all people. Define what they mean to you. Ask yourself, what can an advanced speaker of English do? What does it mean to be an advanced speaker? We all have our own preferred methods, and yes, we do have our personal learning styles. But the overarching truth is that different methods serve different ends. If you want to learn to speak, you have to speak. If you want to learn to write business emails, you've got to write business emails. If you want to learn to understand, you've got to practice understanding. I'm wishing you the very best. That was Lilia for Intelligent, and I hope to be with you very soon again. Thanks for watching.